Thank you
I'll
so
be
much.
just outside so you could talk in peace, or if you need me for anything, I can be in here as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Hi.
you. Hello.
Hi. Hello, Earl. I believe this is our first time meeting. So I'm
Yeah,
Damien. I'm the lawyer on your record at this time.
it's nice to finally meet you.
That's okay. And to my left is the Deputy District Attorney, Adeline. It's Stewart, isn't it? I always forget your last
It
name.
is.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes.
It is. I believe we've met twice, technically.
I sorry, I haven't really slept too much since I've been here. My
Oh
brain is a
God.
little foggy.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
I wish it was fine, but yeah.
Uh well the not remembering is okay. It's I understand there's a lot going on.
Well, I mean, when you have
Um
a corrupt DOC and possibly corrupt police threatening to let the sirens in here to kill me, yeah, that's definitely
all right. Let's unpack that one a little bit more. I'm assuming that's why you wanted to chat.
Well, I mean, obviously, my lawyer is doing his damnedest to represent me in the best way that he can,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, like he's put out a few options out there, which I think definitely I want to hear and maybe discuss some things back and forth and see if we can come to some sort of, I guess, common ground, for lack of a better term, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you want to start there, or do you want to start with your
yeah,
concerns?
uh, my brain is so much. I'll let you kind of take the reins and just kind of go with that.
Okay. Here, let's start with kind of the options that we've discussed first, and then obviously we can contextualize them with your
Hmm.
concerns. So, at the end of the day, with this court case, um, given the type of case it is, and I understand from your attorney that being able to kind of plead your case is very important to you. My suggestion, and whether here's the thing, I don't really have a stake in whatever your decision is. It's your decision at the end of the day. There's a couple of options that this goes through. I don't know if you've had a chance to review the docket and the evidence presented. So the options on how this proceeds are either we go to court and we do the whole thing. If you're found guilty, it proceeds then to a sentencing hearing. What I will say about that is very rarely, for cases like this, if you're found guilty, does the sentencing hearing happen at the same time as the court case. It's normally scheduled potentially for a week prior.
Okay.
Sometimes they're able to do it quicker, but that's typically how this goes, because what they want to do is the court case takes however long it's going to take. And then what they want to do for a sentencing hearing is to have people come back and speak their pieces. People can come and speak on your side, people can come and speak on this kind of the state side, the general public can also come and speak. With a sentencing hearing, you get the final word. Everyone else talks, and then you and your attorney and whoever is there on your side gets to speak, but pursuant to the state itself, you get the final word on whatever you would like to say. And it ends with what you say. So that's one option. The other option, if you want to plead guilty, you can go directly to a sentencing hearing. Essentially, what happens in that one, your lawyer would notify the court that you are intending to plead guilty to these charges and you are requesting that we skip trial and go straight to sentencing. Now, what that does is it essentially, obviously, the judge in question is going to look over the case, but they're not going to hear it in the type of detail that they'll hear through court. That process is a little bit quicker because where we would have a court case, we now go straight to sentencing hearings. And what is said then is very much the opinions of people on what they believe the offenses that you pled guilty to are worth. Now, those will be opinions from people in the state, officers. If you've had good behavior in DOC, there'll be people who might advocate for you on that end. I've seen that happen many a time. There are people who will come and advocate just because they morally oppose certain sentencing recommendations, or there
You
have
mean
even been
like the death
doctors who come
penalty?
in. Correct. Some people, quite frankly, don't agree with life. There are other people who believe and offer to the court that, hey, I think I could help this person. And I would like an opportunity. There's been doctors and therapists who come in and say that, right? That is all stuff that you can, with a sentencing hearing, arrange and talk to people and ask if they would speak on your behalf. You can do that whether we go to court or not, right? That is just the nature of a sentencing hearing. Ultimately, the decision lies with the judge on what they want to do. Regardless, right? I will make a recommendation. The state will make a recommendation. I make the recommendation of the state. However, independent officers, lawyers, attorneys, members of the DA's office can also make contradictory recommendations to me for whatever reason they might want to. It's essentially an open forum for folks. The other option that we have is to never take this to a sentencing hearing and to do a plea deal. Now, my understanding, though, is that you want to be able to kind of share your side of the story and your opinions on things in a public forum. I think your attorney also presented to me a, not wanting to spend more than X years in prison, and I will be very honest with you. With the evidence in front of me, I am not willing to sign a plea deal that is less than life without the possibility of parole at this time. So, and I mean, the plea deal, essentially you forfeit your right to a sentencing hearing. A sentencing hearing, a judge what I say matters only insofar as it is my recommendation. But the judge in question is ultimately the person who makes the decision. So my recommendation to your attorney was my advice, and obviously, take it with a grain of salt, right? I am a prosecutor at the end of the day. If your goal is to, one, be able to share your story, and two, to not spend the rest of your life in prison, quite frankly, your best bet is probably to plead guilty and go directly to sentencing. But that is a decision only you can make.
And obviously, when we spoke over the text on the phone, I've reiterated, as she said, my personal opinion on how I think you should move forward. I've, as I'll say here, as I've also spoken to Adeline, I agree with her statement there of, because if you plead guilty, you accept the charges, and because you're going to be skipping the whole court, making people relive it, unnecessarily, that does look better on your behalf. Yes, it's you admitting guilty, but I've seen their case. Adeline's seen the case, and I'm sure you're aware of the evidence they have. Honestly, a court case is them just going to be able to slam dunk everything, and the wiggle room you get is so minimal. You'll be able to tell your story, but with everything coming to light, it is a lot harder to gain that sympathy.
There's also something to be said for, and I'll be honest, and look, there's something to be said for, and I'm sure you're very aware of this, people very rarely in this state take accountability for their actions. Guilty pleas are not common. Someone walking in and taking accountability for their actions does say something to people. But like I said, I'm not necessarily the one on that point you need to convince. That would be the judge that is presiding over the case. And all that I'm saying is my personal opinion. At the end of the day, it is your decision. This is your trial on what you want to do. But the three options essentially are we go to court, right? The option is that you're either found guilty or not guilty, and then we move to sentencing. We can go straight to sentencing, or I would be willing to discuss a plea deal of life without the possibility of parole.
Why did you come up with life without parole for a plea deal?
So life without parole for me, essentially the state has there's two extreme punishments that we have. And One is obviously the death penalty that I put on the docket,
Hmm.
and the other is life without the possibility of parole. And those are the two kind of most extreme circumstances. Me personally, when I look at this, I am the attorney of the state. And I have to look at what is in the state's best interest. I don't make those recommendations lightly. I never have and I never will. It's one of the look, a death penalty case where someone was recommending the death penalty and I disagreed with it is the reason I decided to join the DA's office in the first place. A death penalty case is the reason 2-3 years ago at this point, I left the law profession altogether. I take it very seriously. I only put forth a recommendation like that. In my personal opinion, when I look at the evidence and I genuinely have a concern and a belief that I think the person will offend again
What if I make
and
you a
will
guaranteed
do more
promise
harm.
that if you let me out, you can even drive me to the airport and put me on a plane and send me back to Canada, and I will never come back to the state again.
So, what I will say, a sentencing of life without the possibility of parole that is to be served outside of the state is not out of the question.
No, I don't want
Now, a
to.
judge
I
has
don't
to
want to be in
accept.
prison because from the sounds of it, these people have reaches to a lot of places.
Yes. At the same time, I mean, I think you understand what was done here. It is, quite frankly, the textbook definition of
Did you
mayhem.
prosecute Lottie Ash
I did.
for the murder of Amelia Casanova?
I did, and I prosecuted Amelia Casanova for the murder of Ada Crew.
So why is it that Lottie Ash is able to walk around free when she tortured and then literally cut off Amelia's head for a trophy? Or when she goes and she's constantly posting on Twinsta, especially with like the skip tracers. It's like, oh, I'm so happy that the skip tracers are on the phone app now because now I know who I get to go murder. She posts that freely on Twinsta, and yet she's out walking free. And these are people who do this stuff all the time, and they're out walking free. I've never killed anyone. I've never hurt an innocent person. And I'm here facing the possibility of death penalty and at the lightest, probably life in prison.
So, from my perspective, right, and let's be very clear on this. People have a what is the best word for this? Patterns of things and motives behind attacking matter a lot. The motive is going to be something that allows me to say this is the likelihood of this person offending again for the same reason. That's where mayhem comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And mayhem, essentially left unchecked, can do a lot of damage to the state.
So like
Murder does a
her,
lot of
like
damage
her
to the state as
murdering
well.
her own people just for wanting to leave. And then she obviously says that she will obviously go and do it again and again and again when everyone tries to leave. Like she again went to court for that, for murdering one of her own people.
Not again. Amelia Casanova was not one of her own people,
No,
actually.
not talking about Amelia.
The one before?
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was someone that was one of her people, was fully in with the gang. He decided he wanted to leave, and she ended up stabbing him a shit ton of times and killed him.
Yep.
And I was also talking with another person, a former siren, who I guess was able to get out because they stabbed that living crap out of her too, trying to kill her.
I'll be honest.
So I mean,
When it comes...
that sounds like a pattern to me, and the fact that they're out there walking free, and then I'm here, it
I understand your concern. In the case of Lottie Ash's first offense, quite frankly, I was not in the office at the time. I don't have any control over what happened. What I do have control over is what I do since I've been in the office. And what I will tell you is when patterns come up, when I see patterns of what's happening, I take that very seriously. People what's the best way to put this? People thinking they get away with things and then getting sloppy later on down the line. Well, one of these days they'll be in the same position. What I will tell you about the Amelia Casanova death, quite frankly, I don't know if you've looked into it, is everything we had on Lottie Ash was circumstantial at best.
But
There were people
but
who
you know that she
wouldn't
did it,
want to
though, right?
prosecute. I do. I was
There's
very
a
confident.
difference in the court of law of knowing and proving. That's kind of where the ball drops.
Right.
Yeah.
The case that that I'm reading right now is definitely very circumstantial at best against her. And I mean, even with circumstantial evidence, the state's sentencing recommendation for Lottie was 10 years in prison, 14 years parole, and a 30K fine. And then obviously the additional people. It always pulls down to the state. State has to prove their case, right? In this case, there it was very circumstantial. They did the best they could. Compare it to yours, which we've openly known, and you openly admit to, just for example, the journal and the amount of evidence within it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like to push people around and kind of sit here and pretend like they don't have a strong case. They have a fantastic case.
Yeah.
They don't have that burden of trying to prove it. They have the proof. So for them, their sentencing, what the death sentence, I obviously, personal opinion, don't agree with. But for what they're kind of trying to put into a plea deal, it isn't terrible for what for what they've got the case of. I mean, for example, you stated about like not wanting to serve your sentence here, for example, because you're worried about the connections that the sirens may or may not have. And I mean, would that, if the DDA was to offer you a sentence elsewhere, how would that look to you?
I mean, honestly, with everything that I've heard, these people have some pretty far-reaching things. And after the talk I had with Lottie a few days ago, it seemed like she would stop at nothing until I'm dead. I can't remember if I told you about that, Damien. What happened? I think it was like 3 days ago.
I remember
Maybe
you
4.
mentioning that the sirens were accidentally let into the block with you.
Yeah, and one of the cops came up and said, "Oops, my bad. Sorry about that," and then just kind of carried on. And because what had happened was I had woken up and I was walking around the yard, and all of a sudden I hear a very familiar voice, and it was Willow Bush. And then it was her and Lottie Ash. I went running into cell block 6 and hid in a little corner somewhere, and I could hear them kind of around the area. And that's why I ended up calling 311 or texting 311, sorry, and saying, "Hey, the sirens are up here. I know they want to kill me, so if you see something pop up, that's probably them attempting to kill me at that point." Well, I heard a gunshot go off a few minutes later. Then I heard some PD coming through cell block 6. I went out. I talked with them. They're like, we're giving them parole to get them out of here. After I went back to cell block 6. The PD person came back and got me, and that's when he was like, they're all gone, they're on parole, blah blah blah. So I went to visitation to go check the MDW, because that's the reason I had kind of woken up in the first place, was because something got put up onto the docket that I wanted to go check. And then as I'm looking, I hear some kind of cough, and I look up, and there's Lottie, Ash, and about 7 other sirens standing on the other side of visitation. And that's where they went and they name dropped a former warden who said that they would be more than happy to let them in here to kill me. Another thing that Lottie ended up saying was that, how does it make you feel that the PD that took us out of here are more than likely going to let us in there to kill you? And then started talking about Eddie, the mayor, because I had been chatting with Eddie a little bit, and it turns out that Eddie actually has them working for him to do things. And they kept on going on about all these other things, all these other people that they pretty much have under the thumbs, and how it's only a matter of time before I end up dying, before they end up coming in here. And then again, it would have been a couple nights ago where I woke up and I was out talking with, oh god, what was her name? Some avocado person. I can't, Melody, I think. And just chit chat, and then what do I see? Another like 4 sirens come running into the yard. So I have to again go hide. But again, the DOC took my phone away from me, and they wouldn't tell me why. And they just said, no, you lost your privileges, so we're taking away your phone. So I couldn't even have the chance of calling 311 or 911 at that point either. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it seems like a lot of things are just kind of like, it literally seems like everyone is against me. And even those people who I don't know why they would be against me, and I don't understand it. It's like there's all these people that are in these supposedly like powerful positions that are on the side of these, I mean, people. And not one of them really gives 2 shits about myself.
I'll be honest. Look, I understand the position that you're in is a difficult one. But I take these things very seriously. I already mentioned it. I prosecuted. Let's start with this. Honestly, this string of events is probably one of the best examples, unfortunately. Amelia Casanova came into prison to torture and kill someone who had done her wrong. Quite frankly, someone who had done her wrong back when she was a cop. With her new gang to come in and do this. I have no hesitancy prosecuting that person and everyone who associated with them. And anyone, and this was one where if I had any knowledge of someone in the DOC or in the police department doing something to aid in that, I have no issues also charging them accordingly for that. Amelia Casanova gets out of prison, and Lottie Ash comes in to prison. You know how Lottie Ash got caught for her murder warrant?
No, I never saw that in the docket.
She, and quite frankly, she's one of the reasons secure court cases are now a thing. She walks into a court case before we had the metal detectors, and we are in the middle of a sentencing hearing for 2 individuals who are on the hook for potentially the death penalty. And she walks in because we don't have metal detectors, because the courts refused to give us a secure courtroom, and she shoots the defendant in the back of the head before they're ever able to make a plea. I have fought harshly since then to secure our courthouses. We have metal detectors now. I will put ERP into effect. I am not afraid to do things like that to protect the sanctity of the courtroom and people being able to go through the process that they are all deserved. These are in the courtroom now. The safety is there. She got picked up on that murder warrant that day.
For
She went to
attempting
prison.
to murder someone else.
Well,
In front of
no, it
everyone.
was. That's how she got caught on the murder warrant. But the actual reason she was sentenced was because she killed somebody, right? Obviously, the attempted murder was a factor. That's how she was arrested and detained. But the warrant was for her murdering Amelia Casanova. Those people that she tried to shoot fled the state. They got away because of her actions. I don't take to that very kindly. They did mayhem and murder and all these other things, and they got on a plane and they left because of her actions. I'm a staunch advocate for the court system and people having their day in court, in whatever form they take it. And I think the there are more protections now than there have ever been. The metal detectors, I believe, have been installed for all of 2 weeks. Any type, even at something as simple as a cup or a law book, are taken off of people before they,
They
ever
really
enter a
do.
courtroom.
Wait, a cup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything that can be thrown, used as a weapon, is instantly taken off you the moment you step through those metal detectors. You do not have a say in it.
Okay.
I will staunchly advocate for and coordinate the biggest police response and DOC response we can get to ensure that you have the ability to safely get to court, to share your side of the story. And I know it is not a necessarily a comfort, but I take people who abuse the system and the justice system very seriously. Whether it is witness tampering of witnesses on Twinsta, or attempting to murder people in the prison, or any of those things. And let's be very clear, people who allow that to happen or who facilitate that by opening a door that someone shouldn't have access to. It's government corruption at its finest, and at the and probably accomplice or accessory to whatever crimes that person commits when they get into that vicinity. I know that's probably not a huge comfort to you. I can't speak on what previous offices have done. I take the court system very seriously, though. And people deciding to take justice into their own hands or become vigilantes, and Mr. Brooks, with all due respect, that's one of the reasons you're sitting here, I don't take very kindly to. But that goes again to anyone trying to do something against you. I can't promise that the DOC will always be around. I can't promise that there won't be a mistake with local DOC, or the DOC, a new trainee who doesn't know what's going on and accidentally lets people into the same block as you.
Do you know what they said when I brought up the concern about not being able to call the police if when they take off my phone? Which again, they gave me absolutely no reason for. They're like, no, you just lost your privileges. And like I am a very firm, believer in I do not contact, anyone from the sirens whatsoever. The only people I've really been trying to contact is people to come and talk for me at either the trial or the sentencing thing or stuff like that. Those are the only people I've been trying to contact, and they're like, "No, you lost your privileges. We're taking it away from you." And I was like, "Well, okay. What if they end up in here again and then being chased down?" They're like, "Oh, run into a cell block and use one of the payphones." I'm like, "Okay, so they're chasing me. They follow me into the thing. They're going to stop and let me call on the payphone while they're trying to kill me." And they just kind of like had a little chuckle to themselves and like, "Well, I guess you should just probably go hide then."
Yeah. Look, I understand the concern. I think the question comes to the level of safety that you are expecting or hoping to have here, right? There's an option for them, and this is ultimately an option for the DOC once people are moved here. I have significantly less control. I can make recommendations. They can put you in solitary and you will not see those people, but that also restricts your ability to move around the prison and do what you need to do. There is a world where, right, we can talk to them and make a recommendation that you be able to have your phone on you for that exact reason. There is maybe there's an agreement that you can come to with the warden that essentially allows the warden to have full access to your phone records, and they set parameters on what you are and aren't allowed to do on that phone. There's conversations that can be had to meet your concerns. I can't promise anything, but we can have those conversations.
The phone thing would be, I think, probably the best solution. If there's some sort of where I will let anyone who needs it or wants it, that's obviously either the lawyers, CID or the warden and stuff, to have full access to my phone. if I can have it back to me so they can make sure I'm not making any sort of nefarious kind of text messages or phone calls. Because again, the only people I've been trying to reach out to are people to come and speak on my behalf.
Mhm. And I think maybe, and this is a potential compromise slightly, ahead of sentencing, maybe there's a request that you communicate those asks through your attorney to reach out for you. And again, I don't know if that's something Damien would willing to do,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
just to
I'll
like,
openly request things on my client's behalf. I have no issue with doing so. Nothing requested. It seems to me like you're trying to abuse anything, in my honest opinion. You're just trying to ensure your safety.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But
and to be fair,
I
the
will
only
say
call
that
I almost made would have been to Eddie at one point after I found out about the sirens working for him. I almost made that call, but then I was like, no, I can't do that. That's just going to bite me in the ass.
indeed it would.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of all circles to the same question that I think is the first step we need to decide on, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your vision moving forward? Because obviously I don't think we will come to the understanding, obviously, if the DDA wishes to push on our plea deal side of things, life without the possibility of parole. That's not acceptable to you, which I completely understand. But I think we do need to come to the agreement of so that things can move forward
Mm-hmm.
of how we want to move forward. Obviously,
I'm
the DDA
also,
has their recommendation. I have mine, but entirely it's up to you.
What's
I'm also very
what's the
happy
judge
to.
like? Like, I'm kind of
Is it
curious
The
with regards
judge?
to
is it
judges.
Sati?
Yeah, Sati.
It is Sati.
She is,
Um,
my opinion, probably a great judge to have. She definitely likes to make sure things are firm but fair,
Mm-hmm.
and she likes to make sure that the PD are doing their job. You know what I mean?
Sati
Yeah.
has very high standards for us. She is the former district attorney.
Oh, okay.
And prior to becoming the district attorney, well, not prior to becoming the district attorney, she worked in the DA's office for a long time before joining the bench. She was a defense attorney for a while. She actually defended the Vagos against a murder case that, quite frankly, the district attorney's office at the time did a very poor job putting together.
Was that the Tito Tinkerer and Sister case?
Was.
Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
was.
I'm familiar with this one.
Yep. And quite frankly, one of the people being charged, quite frankly, just didn't do it. I'm very confident in this. On the other hand, Tito Tinker, I do know, did actually murder the person. However, the evidence was shoddy at best.
How does that make you feel, though?
So I believe, and this is maybe where you and I disagree on things, I hold the legal system in the highest regard. It
Even
is
when
one
it
of the
fails?
reasons, even when it fails. It is the reason that I walked away years ago, and it's the reason I came back. The legal system is full of people, and people make mistakes. But I think there is a very, I don't fully believe in this saying, because I don't agree with it, that there's the phrasing of like, I would rather see, I don't know the exact number, I'd rather see an innocent man or a guilty man walk free than an innocent man put behind bars. Now, I don't agree with the statement as harshly as I think other people do. But I believe that I can know something and being able to prove it in the court of law are two very different things. And under our Constitution and our legal framework, everyone has the right to a fair trial, and the trial comes down to what can be proved. And what is known and what is proven are two very different things. And I believe that every single person has that right. You have the right to hold the people accusing you accountable, to prove that you did something. And sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes a criminal is too
Smart.
sneaky with their actions or smart or dumb luck hits and
Yep.
someone was having an off day and they forgot to document something. However,
I mean, I've never really done. I mean, I've never done so much as steal a fucking thing out of a convenience store in my life.
yeah. But however, the legal system sometimes fails. I don't disagree with you. But also, if the legal system wasn't as stringent as it was, then I don't think we could have things like the death penalty, life without the possibility of parole. We are holding people's lives are at stake, and we should be held accountable to the highest standard to be able to prove it. And if there is doubt, well, then that doubt should be exposed, and we should do a better job next time. Um, I don't know. I had a conversation with a defense attorney who genuinely asked me a question one day before I joined the DA's office of, do you think some people just don't deserve defense attorneys? And my answer is still the same. I think every person deserves representation to hold us accountable for meeting the burden of proof that is necessary. However, and my response to him was, not everyone deserves your representation. So if you can't get past what happened, or they've done something to you, while I might believe fully, despite what they did, they deserve representation, you don't have to be the one to represent them. I hold nothing in higher regard than the legal system. That's why I fight so hard for security in the courtroom, and attorneys that I go against who get shot fight for the people being held accountable when things happen. It's why when people get attacked in the prison, I don't care who the person is who did it. I don't care what that person did to somebody. I don't stand for vigilantism because I believe in the system as much as I do.
Damon, how much do you get paid for this?
Are
unless
you
it's-
referring to like representing you at
Yeah,
this
like,
time?
How much does
0.
the-
The state is willing to provide a payment for representing you because it was a request, but I make $400 an hour. I'll put it that way. I do usually have fees attached to my stuff, but 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty meh. I don't mind.
Now, I guess kind of a question for you, DDA, because obviously when I did have my phone, or even if I were to go and acquire another one, I can't see any of my bank stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I would like to do, if that is possible, is I would like to transfer the funds that are in there to Damien so that he can have that for, I guess, the payment, because he's definitely going to be going against his better judgment on this one, and I think we going for the trial.
All right.
And I'd like to see him, at least get something for it.
I think that can be arranged. I believe essentially what the two of you would do is come up with the two of you come up with an agreement, put it in writing, and submit it to the court and request that happen.
Okay. Is that good with you, Damien?
I mean, whatever you would like to do is okay with me. Like I said, I'm here to represent you all the way through. Providing that we don't have a judge that decides to suddenly schedule things outside my availability, as has happened before, I will be there no matter what. Sadie is pretty damn good at her scheduling, from what I've seen, so we
Yes.
shouldn't have that issue.
I
Okay.
think this case will more than likely be a weekend case, I would have to imagine.
Yeah, most likely
Yes.
it's probably not going to be a very short case.
No, it needs to be on an on a good time for us all. So Sadie is gonna have to do this one well. So yeah,
Yes.
if we're willing to go, actually, if you're wishing to go to trial, I will put a note in towards the judge. Just let her know we've discussed various options, and you're not willing to plead guilty. You are wishing to take this to a trial.
Correct.
Just so she is aware, as I like to keep her updated on
Yeah.
the
And
progress of this
and
case.
I also want to say too, I definitely do appreciate you, because I've obviously been getting all the notifications and stuff, and seeing things being thrown up on the docket. And I mean, obviously, I know this isn't exactly like a dream case for you to work on because of, how much stuff there is. But
There is a lot, but I mean, it's part of my job. Obviously, a few people have come to me and have openly stated they would like to speak on your behalf. So
Wait,
I will
what?
enter them as witnesses. Yes,
wit-
I had an officer pull me earlier, late yesterday, by the name of. 2 seconds, I'm gonna go find them.
Alan, perhaps.
I do get a lot of texts. Just probably
Yeah, no problem.
bear with me a moment. Lots of
I'm
people
sure you
text me,
do.
and I don't save their names.
That you really
because-
need to get better at.
Okay,
It's
so
gonna-
I save their names if they're important to me, like
Got
if
it,
they're
alright,
relevant to
alright.
something.
Understood.
But if it's just like, oh, can you come here and do this? I'm like, yes. Ba, 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 ba.
Well, while he's doing that, Adeline, do you mind me asking what was the case that kind of drove you away the first time?
So it was in a different state. Quite frankly, I was a paralegal working for the district attorney's office. I believed very staunchly in the work that we were doing. And it was brought to my attention that the district attorney on a death penalty case was working with someone to lie on the stand so that it could be a slam dunk case. This was the first case I was working on where I was going to be leading it. It essentially was the case that was going to get me my bar license. This was the last witness. I proceeded as normal, and then I refused to call that witness to the stand and closed the case and handed in my resignation afterwards.
The officer was indeed Alan Jevons.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay.
He did
nice.
pull me. He actually caught me at Hayes, which is where I work when I'm not doing lawyer stuff. So he did pull me there. Obviously, I know you've requested a couple of other witnesses, so I'm going to need to try and get a hold of them because I don't want to just put them in as witnesses on the docket.
Yeah. Okay.
Without obviously speaking to them first.
Okay. Because him and Rooster came up here like 4 days ago or so and chatted with me. And I'm not gonna lie, at the end of it, Alan, he didn't really seem super happy, but he definitely seemed very understanding of a lot of things. And I mean, he also taught me dispatch when I was doing dispatch back in the summer.
He did. I was at the interview.
Oh. Sorry, I did not,
You're fine.
yeah, I don't even, I mean, with everything that's gone on between now and then, I don't really remember much of my dispatch days.
That is fair. I
yeah.
think I only ran into you once by happenstance back when I still did dispatch while I was on my, like I mentioned, my 2-year hiatus from the legal profession.
Okay. Yeah, I have one EMS that she is still hemming and hawing. I have put in a request with Cherry Bush and Lola Kensington. I think that's how you pronounce her last name.
Is she the captain, the chief? I remember she's high up in EMS.
Yeah, they're both captains. But neither of them have gotten back to me. They both have talked to me on the phone and sounded, pretty decent on the phone, but I mean, obviously I know that Cherry is also on the prosecution side as a witness, but okay.
Right.
It doesn't.
I'm gonna get this notice. It doesn't prevent us from calling them as well.
It doesn't. Yeah, it does not prevent you from calling. It also does not prevent anyone from speaking on your behalf if we go to sentencing. Right? People, like I said, people can have opinions. People in my own office might have opinions that say that and I've encouraged them to speak their mind if they have an opinion. When it comes to sentencing, at the end of the day, anyone can speak and say whatever they want and make whatever recommendation they would like. That is the purpose of a sentencing hearing. It's why it's more open and free form than it might otherwise be. I will never hold it against somebody for disagreeing with me on sentencing.
Okay. Kind of a very weird off. Does what Tammy did, does that happen quite a bit or no?
Which thing?
So she said that she was too scared of the people coming after her and that it wasn't worth the stress, so she wasn't going to take on the case.
Take on your case?
Yes.
Sometimes I don't know that her situation was exactly related to you specifically. I think Tammy has been going through a lot of stuff at the moment. I know she recently lost her bar license.
She has had her bar license suspended due to her behavior on the docket.
Oh.
Yes. Telling a judge that they should learn how to read probably
Wait,
doesn't
wait,
do
what?
you any favors.
Yeah, it was a judge took a case that she's involved in, and yeah, proceed. I mean, the judge really should have read.
Hey, they 100% should have read it.
But you
Yeah,
don't
they
It's
go
a
didn't-
throw it,
fun.
you don't throw it in their face
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
basically told the judge to, hey, learn to read, or if you had bothered to read, then
Yeah.
they were posting silly gifs in the docket too. So
It's a fun read, honestly. If you want to grab an MBW and look at the civil docket, I
What
think
was
it's Tammy
the-
Maynard versus Wolf Haley.
I will definitely take a look at that at some point.
it was a fantastic read, but
It's a great read, but
professionalism is
obviously,
my first key.
yes. It's probably I appreciate Tammy as a lawyer so much, but just like I have prosecutors that are appropriate for certain cases, there are also attorneys that are appropriate for certain cases or a better fit for certain cases.
Okay. I guess the one other kind of weird one is I know someone had said that it might be a panel of judges. I think maybe that was at my.
You're referring to Sadie's comment about the trial will be overseen by impartial presiding judge / judges.
Yeah, there was
That's
that.
probably
then
what
I
you're
think
referring
at
to.
the bail / what
Yeah,
PC
Roland
hearing.
mentioned it.
I was just wondering, is that going to be the thing where it's going to be a panel, or will it just be Sati?
So technically, Sadi is a full judge and can oversee this herself. My personal opinions are that anything involving a death penalty or life without the possibility of parole type of sentence should be overseen by a panel, but that is ultimately judge's discretion. I've seen most of them overseen by a panel. For this one, they might have been waiting to see if a plea deal or a
Mhm.
guilty plea was entered.
I would also
before-
agree that a panel is appropriate more than a singular judge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they actually have brought in some, what they've done too is they've used these as one, training opportunities for some newer judges, but two, I think newer judges sitting on panels are actually good because they bring a unique perspective that someone that's been in the job for a little longer doesn't have.
True. Oh, as long as they
So-
don't execute me by a fucking attack helicopter.
Yeah. Well, someone wanted to turn someone into pigment. That was the thing that no one liked that idea.
Wait, what? Pigment?
Yeah. Yeah. The suggestion was to turn a person into pigment and paint a mural.
And
people-
people say what I'm being accused of was heinous.
Mm-hmm.
I will say there was mass public outrage to that one. I believe the suggestion going forward is lethal injection or firing squad.
Mm.
There's been a vital transformation since then of recommendations for the death penalty
Okay.
due to the somewhat inhumane suggestions that were previously entertained.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that either of you wants to discuss at all, or?
No, I don't have anything on my end.
Not at this time. I have put the notice on the docket, so they will probably try to get the ball rolling. Hopefully soon, but it could be a little bit of time.
Okay. And as for yourself, I know I have, I think, like 12K in the bank, but if, yeah, definitely like to give you a 10K, just in case, something happens, I am able to walk out of the courtroom free. That way I could, like, just still buy my plane ticket and get out of here, but, yeah, I think that,
We
at
can
least-
discuss payment. That's not a problem. I'm in
Okay.
I'm not in desperate need of money or anything like that.
And
We can
also,
discuss that when the time
$400
arises.
an hour, like, that seems almost like robbery, because from what I've seen, so many
um,
people get paid so much more than
when you're not taking on cases and stuff, that $400 an hour is very easy to very easy money. But when you take on
Mhm.
like large cases or multiple cases, it can feel like it's not enough. But
well,
Yeah.
I mean, I
like,
don't really do it for the payment.
I mean, for a case like this, I mean, it definitely I don't think is enough because the amount of work
Yeah.
that you're probably going to have to do is.
The
It's gonna be an
idea is,
interesting one.
yeah, the idea essentially is that the people should pay for their attorneys, and the state supplements that paycheck themselves. Versus, right, my client is the state. They don't get any supplementary pay for versus
Yeah.
an hourly wage.
Yeah. Oh,
But
Alrighty.
at least
yeah,
at least get some medication. Because Bambi, I guess, sent up some medication for me because I can't eat the food in here. It quite literally just runs right through me. Like I don't know
no.
how anyone can eat this slop. And yeah, I mean, I think I've slept like maybe a total of like 10 hours since I've been here, and it's just
Yeah. We can obviously, I know I did not catch his name, but the guard who let us in here, I
Sven.
can bring up, yeah, I can bring up the idea of the phone to him, but obviously he is going to have to run it up
Yeah.
his chain. But we can put that request in and see if it isn't possible,
Yeah.
but it is ultimately their decision.
that would be very much appreciated. Thank you. Because when I asked about it, the only answer I was given it came from the warden, and
Got it.
there's no other explanation kind of given. Which again, I don't know what I've done to kind of had that taken away.
Yeah, I think if you're willing to tell people that, like, hey, I'm gonna, unless someone reaches out to me, I'm gonna communicate through my attorney, for the time being, etc. It might go a long way. We have had instances, I'll be blunt, of people getting phones in prison and harassing their victims.
And like I said, like I do not plan on talking to anyone from, what the fuck, Side of the Sirens. Fuck me. How do I forget that name? Yeah, have no plans on reaching out to any of them. If it was up to me, I would never see any of them ever again, which I'm sure probably isn't going to happen because I'm sure they'll probably be at the trial anyways. I also was not aware that there's so fucking many of them.
There is a lot of the sirens.
Like
I
There
see a lot of
are.
them on a daily basis. There is a
Like-
lot of them.
yeah, like when they did that intimidation thing in front of his station, there was like 7 or 8 of them, and I didn't even see Harm or Louise there. So
Yeah.
yeah, no. If
And I do,
oh, sorry.
to say, I do take what I said very seriously, Mr. Brooks. If you have any indication that you believe that someone within a government position is actively aiding and people harming you, I do not take that lightly.
Well, like I said, now again, how much truth is it? No idea. But the way Lottie said it was a former warden that is not Maxwell has offered to pretty much let them in here to kill me, and what was the other part? The other part was, how does it make you feel knowing that the officers who let us out or that took us out of here on parole might be the ones that let us in here to kill you because your time is running out?
All right. And
And
I
then-
will
Yeah, and then
continue to
obviously
look
the whole
into it.
thing with Eddie too, with the sirens, which I had. Actually, no, I'm just not going to. No, never mind. I'm just not going
Yeah.
to say anything.
Unfortunately, employing felons is not illegal.
Yeah, it's not
As
illegal.
much, as
mean,
much
If it
as
was, a lot of
public works
businesses would be out of
bothers
work.
me.
True. I mean,
This is
wait,
true.
do these people have weapons licenses and stuff still? Like
No.
if they're doing,
No, if they're felons, they lose them.
but if
Yeah.
if they're doing private security work for like the mayor, that sounds.
Some people might still have weapons licenses. It's actually surprisingly difficult to get your weapons license removed in this state. but they also, could just be using bats as an example.
Not true.
Yeah.
True. All right. Well, again, thank you both very much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and speak with me. I definitely do appreciate
Of
it.
course.
And same thing I tell the DOC, it's like, I am not here to cause waves. I am not here to, do things. I'm trying to be on my best behavior as possible because honestly, if I were to start doing stuff in here, that would just give more ammunition to things, and I really just want this to go as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, I understand. All right. In that case, obviously, if you need anything, your attorney has my number and can talk to me. But other than that, we'll see you in court, Mr. Brooks.
We will indeed see everyone at court. This will be an interesting. Obviously, I will be in contact over the next couple of days to get a list of people you'd like to be involved in the case, and we'll go from there.
All right, perfect. Thank you both very much.
Of
Not a
course.
problem. Now, let's see if
Alright.
Sven can hear us.
No,
I think he can't hear us. We have to step out the door.
Oh my god, the door is unlocked.